I'm starting this vlog on a Saturday because honestly, what is time anymore? Also, I have no idea how noisy this intro clip is going to be. Someone is hammering something down at the farm down the hill. I think my mum is pressure washing something in the garden. Rural life is never as quiet as everyone thinks, I can tell you that. So I don't exactly know what this vlog is going to be. I think it's mostly going to be reading and walking. I am definitely writing at the moment, but it's just not that exciting to vlog. We are getting very close to the release of my next book, which is now up for pre-order. I've got about 10 days left to get the finished ebook uploaded to Amazon. And because of that, I am just in the last 10 days of finishing touches. I am doing one final proofread of the entire book and then I will format it. And honestly, there is not a lot to say about that process. It hasn't been the easiest of weeks, honestly. My health has had a bit of a battering, but I am making good progress on this book. I've had to put everything else aside this week. Social media, making videos, drafting other books. It has all fallen behind. But the proofreading is going pretty well and that is my main priority. As for reading, I've now got about 300 pages left of the final Mistborn book, The Hero of Ages. So I'm hoping in this vlog I will be able to wrap that book up. And I have got loads of walking footage to share with you because even though I haven't been vlogging much for the last couple of weeks, I have been taking the camera when we've been getting outside. The weather has felt very spring-like here, which has made a really nice change. So I will definitely be showing you loads of that during the course of the week. And that is going to be it for my very brief intro. I think the pressure washer is getting ever closer. Let's see where the rest of the week takes me. It's now Monday evening and it's been a pretty productive couple of days, probably more than I expected. I'm definitely ahead of schedule with my proofreading. It needs to be done by the end of this week, but really I think it's only going to take me another couple of days. I'm definitely getting to the stage where I just want it to be finished so I can move on to other things. But I'm still trying to take my time with it to make sure I do it properly. And I'm really happy with the progress I've made so far. So let's talk about The Hero of Ages. I'm on about page 450, so I've read about 50 pages in a couple of days. And you know, in the interests of honesty, I've got to say that it is not wowing me so far. I liked but didn't love The Final Empire, but everyone said how great this series was, so I kept reading. And then I really enjoyed The Well of Ascension. That one gripped me much quicker. But so far, and I'm quite a long way into this, The Hero of Ages is not really doing it for me. The world building is very drab, and I know that is deliberate because this is a world covered in ash, but it's not really giving me the sense of wonder that I so enjoy in fantasy. And also, so far, I've just found the plot pretty flat. I will say I really like the Inquisitors. From the start of this series, they have been one of the most interesting and creepy parts of it. and every time more is revealed about them, they just get creepier. But the rest of the book really, like I said, is just not wowing me. I'm getting to the point where I'm having to accept that Brandon Sanderson's writing style is just not really for me. This is now the 4th of his books that I've read, the Mistborn trilogy, and I've also read Elantris. I wouldn't call any of them favourites, quite honestly. The reason I have kept reading this long is because as a fantasy writer, I really want to know what other readers are enjoying in the fantasy genre. I'm not sure there is another living fantasy writer who sells as many books as Brandon Sanderson, or who has such devoted fans. Although I have heard amazing things about the Stormlight Archive, so there is still time for him to convert me. And actually, there is still time for the Hero of Ages as well. Brandon Sanderson does big endings with big twists, and I think this is why so many readers really love his books. I feel like I might have already guessed one particular twist in this book pertaining to the mists, but this is the thing with his books. You guess 1 or 2 twists, but then there are always more layered on top that you don't see coming. So I am looking forward to that. But I'm just a bit disappointed that for the end of a trilogy, I feel like this book is trundling towards the conclusion rather than galloping. It's about 7 o'clock on Friday night. My daughter has just gone up to bed, and I have got just over 100 pages left of The Hero of Ages. I've kind of reached the point where sticking with a Brandon Sanderson book starts to pay off. From about page 500, and definitely from about page 550, the story really picked up. And because this is the end of a trilogy, the plot twists and revelations are coming thick and fast. Brandon Sanderson tends to do this in every single book. He says in his writing videos that he starts from the end of a book and works backwards. So he always comes up with these very epic plots and then finds a way to justify the ending. I don't know that you can necessarily tell that whilst reading his books, but it definitely explains why the endings are so strong. So with this one, the pace has picked up, and as I said, all these twists are coming out of the woodwork. And I know there are going to be loads more before the end, most of which hopefully I will not have predicted. That is the good thing about there being so many twists in quick succession. I think I've only really got 2 criticisms at this point. The first one is about the series as a whole, which the more I've read of it, the more apparent this has become, but it is very straight, white and male. Now I really like Vin as a character. I think she's a great lead and I think she's very well written. But this has consistently bugged me throughout the series is how few women are involved. I think it was most apparent in the first book and it's perhaps a little bit better in the second and third. But in the first particularly, there are a lot of main characters and a lot of incidental people met along the way, and virtually none of them are women. None of the shopkeepers, soldiers, rebels, administrators, beggars, and certainly not many of the main characters. But the frustrating thing is that Brandon Sanderson can write really good female characters. I don't have any argument against the female characters he's got. There just aren't enough of them. I suspect his more recent books are better in that respect. I know the Mistborn trilogy is one of his earlier published works, so I'd be interested to see how his later books develop. As for The Hero of Ages, there is one other downside. honestly, I think it could have been 200 pages shorter. The ending is great, as I said, but do I think it's justified the length of the book? I'm not sure.
Is it just me, or is it hard to agree with what you're trying to explain? I don't mind feather wings, no diamond rings, but that's not how you get to me, no. We could sit in the shade, talk till late, and then we'll see. We can go for walks, stroll down the city park, and maybe, just maybe.
It's Sunday evening and I have just finished The Hero of Ages. As I expected, the ending was intense. I read 50 pages yesterday and then the last 70 or so pages today. And exactly what I had hoped for happened. Not in terms of specifics of the plot, but just that the ending was so strong. And to be honest, even knowing that Brandon Sanderson writes good endings, I didn't quite guess how many little clues from earlier in the series would all tie together in the last 100 pages. That must have been a serious feat of planning. So I really enjoyed the ending, and some of the final revelations in the last 20 or so pages absolutely gave me chills. The way a particular prophecy was resolved was just so perfect, and it made really good use of a character who I have really liked from the beginning. And honestly, the ending is so strong that it's hard to then focus on criticisms of earlier parts of the book. At the time, reading the first 400 or 500 pages, I definitely felt it was too long. There were times when I almost lost interest. But the ending was so clever and complex and just brought in so many other parts of the story and wrapped them up so neatly that it kind of feels like it has redeemed the book as a whole. Is this going to be one of my favourite fantasy series of all time? No. Honestly, it's not. There are still too many other things about the books that don't completely do it for me. And they're things I've talked about in this vlog. The writing style, some of the world building, some of the pacing. But in terms of sheer plotting ability, I don't think anyone can beat Brandon Sanderson. It wasn't even about the big twists in the end. It was all the tiny little details that had been planted from the very beginning of the first book and which only became meaningful in the last 100 pages of the third. Honestly, that's about all I can say at this point without major spoilers. So that is where I'm going to wrap this vlog up. It seems fitting to finish a vlog when I've also finished a massive fantasy trilogy. I know there are lots of Mistborn fans out there, so you are welcome to share your thoughts in the comments. And I'm probably going to take the rest of the evening to decompress before I pick out something else to read. Thank you for watching, keep reading everyone, and I'll see you next time.